Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let's continue with our class for the absolute advantage and comparative advantage. This is part 2. So I'm going to start from this slide over here. So we discussed about how trade will occur between the two countries as a result of the difference in the opportunity cost between the two countries. So we've seen this United States, the slope of the production possibility frontiers is less steep compared with Canada, which is steep. It means that for the product of autos, United States has comparative advantage. That's where United States should specialize, whereas Canada has higher opportunity cost because of steep the slope for this higher opportunity cost in autos, and therefore Canada specializes in wheat and they trade. So we've discussed all that. We continue with the trade triangle of these countries. So in order to see the trade triangle, we start with consumption points for United States and consumption points for Canada. So let's take United States. United States, after specialization, with specialization, this is the point of specialization, producing 120 autos. Consume 60 autos. So the remaining is 60 exports of autos by United States to Canada. And for wheat, as a result of this point here, this production here, United States produces 0 wheat, but it consumes 60. This must come from imports, import of wheat from Canada, this 60. So this is the triangle that we're talking about, the trade triangle, connecting the international trading line. This is international trading line, the new line, the same here. So connecting between the international trading line with exports and imports. This is the trade triangle of United States. Now let's move to Canada. Canada specializes here at this production point here. It produces 160 wheat but consume only 100. So this 60 is actually exports by Canada to United States. The same here, 60 export here. It is the import here. $60 by United States. So we have, this is the export. Now for automobile, because of production at this point B here, Canada produces 0 of auto, but it consumes 60 auto. So this 60 must come from United States. So this is import from United States. The one that we just saw here, 60 of export from United States, this is actually going here. So 60. So this is the trade triangle for Canada. So let me repeat. This is the trade triangle for United States, connecting the international trading line with export and imports. United States. For Canada, this is here the trade triangle connecting international trading line with exports of Canada of wheat to United States and imports of Canada of automobile from United States. So this trade triangle. So trade triangle of one nation equals that of the other nation. One nation's export equal the other nation's imports, and there is one equilibrium terms of trade. This one here, terms of trade 1 to 1. Terms of trade 1 to 1. In fact, this is the same one line in the world. When there is trade, the price of goods in the world is represented by this one single line that exists in the world. Well, we have two here simply because we have two graphs, left and right. But this is exactly the same line, international trading line, which gives the price of autos relative to price of wheat, or you can talk about price of wheat relative to autos too. Next slide. So we've seen it. It's constant opportunity cost. This is straight line. Straight line. Up here, constant opportunity cost. This is opportunity cost for United States. The slope. This is opportunity cost for Canada. Constant because it's straight line. Assume factors production perfect substitute, and all units of factors of same quality. And autarky, that's not the choice. We want trade. So the basis of trade is principle of comparative advantage. The direction of trade, each country specializes and export a good in which it has the lowest opportunity cost. And on the other hand, it imports product which that country cannot produce efficiently. We export what we can produce efficiently, and we import what we cannot produce efficiently. That's what it is. So we're gonna see production gains from specialization that arise from allocation of existing resources. For example, for United States, resources are allocated from wheat, all of them going to production of automobile. The static came from specialization, because we're gonna see next. Number 2 is the gain from consumption gain. We have two: production gain and consumption gain. So let's look at here. What we are interested to show is here. This is our production gain from specialization. Here, the world benefit from this trade. When we say trade, it goes without saying specialization. You specialize and trade. So let's look at how this comes about. This is before specialization, before trade. This is with trade, and of course with specialization. This is the production before trade, autarky. No trade, autarky. Autarky is what you produce is what you consume, or another way of saying, you can only consume what you produce because you are autarky. You don't trade with anyone. So this is autarky. 40 auto, 40 with United States. Canada 40 auto, 80 wheat, and the world has 80 autos, 120 wheat. Now we trade. United States specializes in autos. Look at here, produce maximum of autos, 120. Complete specialization means that producing maximum of the product that you have you efficient, comparative advantage. Maximum of autos, zero, none at all of the other product. This is complete specialization. For Canada, also complete specialization. Canada has a comparative advantage in wheat, so produces maximum given the resources, which is labor only, 160, and zero auto, complete specialization. Okay, so in the world we have 120 autos, 160 wheat. So this is the thing that we want to show in the end. Before trade, in the world there was only 80 autos, but now 120 autos. Increase of 40 autos in the world because of trade. That's the beauty of trade. Wheat, before trade, 120 only. With trade, 160, so an increase of 40. So the world enjoys more autos and more wheat. This is here for the United States, produces 120 but export autos to Canada, so it consume only produces, the gain, this is the gain, okay? So before trading, $40 autos only produced by United States. After trading, 120. This is an increase of 80. Okay. Wheat, before trading, 40, and no production, so minus 40, because United States specializes in the production of autos. So what is more important is here, consumption. So do not get confused, this is production, okay? Why negative? Why minus 40? Simply because United States specializes in autos. So there's an increase of 80 autos production in United States. For Canada, similarly, don't get confused, this is minus 40 in production because Canada specializes in wheat. Increase the production of wheat to 160, so production gain is 40, but the world benefits increase in both products, 40 autos, 40 wheat. So next is consumption gain. This is more important to discuss. Before trade, this is consumption, autarky. What you produce is what you consume, or what you can consume only what you produce. The world can only consume 80 autos, 120 wheat. So after trade, United States consume 60, even though it produces 120, because the other 60 is exported to Canada. Wheat, United States now consumes 60, even though produces 0. This 60 comes from import from Canada. For Canada, it consumes 60 autos, even though producing zero, because this 60 comes from imports from the United States. Canada now consumes 100 of wheat despite producing 160, because 60 of them were exported to the United States. But here it is more important to see here. Previously, before trade for United States only consume 40. Now we trade, United States consume 60. That's an increase of 20 in auto consumption in United States. Increase of 20 autos. Wheat, before it was 40 consumption, now 60. There's an increase of 20 of wheat consumed in the United States. Despite, look, United States produces zero wheat but consume more wheat. This is the beauty of international trade, because United States can import cheaper wheat from Canada. Similarly, with Canada, before trade 40 autos only, now 60 autos can be consumed in Canada, increase of 20. Wheat, before it was 80 wheat can be consumed in Canada without trade, now 100 wheat can be consumed in Canada, an increase of 20. So both countries can enjoy more consumptions of both goods, and that is extended to the world, because our model is only 2 countries, 2 products, and 1 factor, which is labor. So let me repeat, both countries enjoy more consumption of both goods, autos and wheat, and by extension the world can enjoy consumption of more of all goods, both goods, 40. Okay, so we just discussed production gains, which is rather static. Is now static because you know why static? You get this minus here, but here it is here that is more important, that we want to show the consumption gains from trade. Both countries can consume more of both goods. By extension, the world consume more of both goods. Already the world produce more of both goods. An increase of 40 of autos available in the world, 40 more of wheat available in the world. Of course, what the world has, 40 autos, is what the world is going to consume. What the world has more of wheat is what the world is going to consume more, 40 more of wheat. So consumption gains from trade, the lower part of the table just now, for both countries. So consumption points beyond the domestic production possibility frontiers, so countries can consume more of both goods. Where is it? Beyond. This is here, outside. With autarky, no trade, your consumption, production and consumption, the same, can be limited to this anywhere here only. United States cannot consume more, which is outside, because that's the frontier. But produce and consume here is not fully utilizing the resources. inside can produce more and more. So this is the most that can be produced by utilizing resources in the most efficient manner. So this is the line production possibilities frontier. But United States cannot produce, what else? Cannot consume outside of this frontier. But with trade, this is the initial. A was the place of, the point combination of production of 40 autos and 40 wheat. In autarky, what you produce is what you can consume. So United States could only consume 40 autos and 40 wheat, limited to that point, cannot be outside. But now the beauty of trade, this is the point of consumption. Okay, whereas production is here. B, production, because United States specializes in auto. This is the point of production with trade. Okay, production with trade. But consumption still on the line. Okay, even though at the end, still on the line of this possibilities frontier. But consumption now with trade, this is the beauty of trade, is outside of this frontier here. So now people in the United States can consume here, which is higher in terms of the quantity of both goods, which is 60 autos. Where's my cursor? 60 autos and 60 wheat. Higher amount than, greater amount than 40 autos and combination with 40 wheat. Consume here, produce here. This is the beauty of international trade. Consume outside of the frontier. Same thing with Canada. Previously consumed here with autarky, 40 autos and 80 wheat. We trade because of this existence of this trading line, which is here the same. Consumption point is here, outside of the frontier. Production possibilities frontier, outside is here. Now consume 60 autos and 100 wheat. Produce here, production point with trade. Produce here but consume here. Still produce here, again I'm repeating the same, still on this line of production possibilities frontier. You must be on the frontier. You cannot be inside, not efficient, can produce more, but of course cannot be outside, must be on here. But consumption is outside. This is the beauty of international trade. Where were we? Beyond domestic production possibilities frontier. So countries consume more of both goods. So now, terms of trade, the rate at which countries export product is traded for the other countries' export product, that defines relative prices of the two products. So domestic terms of trade set the post-trade. This will set the post-trade consumption point. So we begin with domestic first. Here, less steep. This is steep. Lower opportunity cost in terms of production of autos, the X. This is steep. Very high opportunity cost for production of X autos, because steep. Less steep, lower opportunity cost. So Canada, United States should specialize in autos. High opportunity cost in the production of autos, so Canada must specialize in wheat. That's why the point of production we trade here. That's why for America, production point we trade is here. the specialization point here. That domestic terms of trade set the post after trading consumption points that the nation can achieve is determined by the rate at which its export products is traded for the other country's export product. So the slope of production possibilities frontier, the price at which the two commodities can be exchanged at home. Oh, already done. So we are on the terms of trade. I'm repeating, sorry. Terms of trade for export. For a country to consume beyond production possibilities frontier, international terms of trade must be more favorable than domestic terms of trade. Must be more favorable than the domestic. This is domestic terms of trade, which MRT 0.5. We trade. This is auto. This is the price of autos relative to the price of wheat. How do you calculate that? Here, any slope, by definition, any slope is the height that you jump divided by the, what are we talking about here, auto, okay? The height that you jump divided by the length that you run, which is 60 divided by 120. That's how we calculate slope. Height divided by, distance on the length. 60 divided by 120, so 60 over 120, so 0.5 MRT. With this one, MRT is 120 divided by 120, so 1. So look at this. Before trade, the price of wheat auto, which United States export before trade, the price of auto was 0.5 in terms of wheat. How do you calculate that? Just now. Height divided by how far you run. 0.5. But with trade, the price of autos relative to wheat, autos is what United States exports, not anymore 0.5. How much? The relative price, 120 divided by 120, 1. Previously 0.5, now 1. It means that autos in the world now has increased in the price. So that's what United States wants. Previously, autos was cheap. Now, autos is more expensive. The product the United States export has now become more expensive. That's good. So that's what we mean by this terms of trade, the new terms of trade, the terms of trade with trading, with trade must be more favorable than the domestic terms of trade. Favorable. Here, favorable. More expensive. And that's what United States wants, because it's export autos. Let's look at Canada. This is the domestic terms of trade. Autos, okay? We're talking, we don't mix auto and wheat. When we talk about autos, we talk about autos only. For Canada, for autos, it is so expensive in Canada because very steep. This is cheaper in United States, less steep. Very expensive in Canada, very steep. For autos, okay? Let me repeat, we don't mix. We talk about autos. Very steep, very expensive. Now we trade, it is more favorable for Canada. Moves to this line. this line is less steep, means that it means autos which Canada imports now at a cheaper price than domestic price of autos. This is domestic price of autos, very steep. How do you calculate that? Which divided by, this 160, same concept, don't mix, okay, don't get confused. Any slope by definition is how high you jump, 160 jump, divided by how far you run on the ground, 160 divided by 80. This is the slope 2. Now let's test with trade. This is the line, the same line, new line, okay. 100 jump, 160 divided by 161. Previously 2 MRT. Now the new slope is 1, which is lower. It means that auto has now become cheaper because of trade, that Canada can purchase from, can import from United States. So this line here is more favorable for Canada. Similarly with United States, this line here is more favorable for United States because autos becomes more expensive, that Canada exports autos. Here more favorable for United States, okay, United States exports autos. For Canada, this is more favorable here because autos has now become more becomes cheaper than originally without trade, cheaper. This and autos are the products that Canada imports. So you want to import something, that imports has now become cheaper. That's good. So where were we? Yeah, here we just finish here. Must be more for country to consume beyond production possibilities frontier. International terms of trade must be more favorable than domestic terms of trade. Just now we just seen it. So trade possibilities line, that line, the new line, the same line, one line only in the world. And trade triangle, I've shown it. And complete specialization, I talk about it. Domestic cost ratio negatively slope, of course. The slope is negative. We want the absolute amount of that slope. Transform into positively slope cost ratio line, sets outer limits for equilibrium terms of trade, constitute no trade boundary, that outer limits. The region of mutually beneficial trade bounded by cost ratios of the two countries. There it is. This is Ricardian model of trade from Ricardo. Okay, comparative advantage. Ricardian model only gives the outer limit. Outer limit. Not here, but within this area of this is the outer limit. But Ricardian model, because of looking at supply side, never tells us exactly where within this. Where is it here? Is it here? That line, new line of international trading line. You know, if you flip, you know that trading line was going negative that way, but we're not flip it. We're not interested in a negative. We're interested in the absolute. That's why the note here. Yeah, negatively slope production positivity frontier. We can transform that into positive. Transform into positive slope of cost ratio line. Yeah, negative. Why is it negative? Here, negative, right? Because negative. We can transform that into positive, just for the sake of demonstration, to show the theory. Okay, we can transform that positive. So this is, we don't know exactly that line. Which line? This line here, the trading line. We turn it into positive. Yeah, we don't know exactly where is it. Is it here? Is it here? Or is it here in the middle? We don't know from Ricardian model, because it gives only the boundaries of because within that boundary, this is a region of mutually beneficial trade. This line here will improve in terms of Canadian terms of trade. This line, the more to the bottom here, will improve Canadian terms of trade. This one will improve US terms of trade. What is terms of trade? Price of your exports relative to your imports. Okay, and we're going to see that in the next slide. So the supply side analysis of Ricardo describes the outer limits within which the equilibrium terms of trade must fall within here. Domestic cost ratios set the outer limits for the equilibrium terms of trade. Mutually beneficial trade for both nations occur if the equilibrium terms of trade lies between the two nations' domestic cost ratio. Lies here in between. According to the theory of reciprocal demand, we're going to study in next slide, which looks at the demand side. Reciprocal demand, the actual exchange rate ratio at which trade occurs depends on the trading partners' interacting demands. So next slide. So John Stuart Mill add to this, add the intensity of the concept to the theory, how we want to determine the line of trading. At the intensity of trading partners' demands, this determines the actual terms of trade, whereas Ricardian model did not give us the exact where the line it is. So determine the actual terms of trade. So the theory of reciprocal demand, within outer limits of the terms of trade, actual terms of trade determined by relative strength of each country's demand for the other country's product. So production costs determine outer limits of terms of trade. Reciprocal demand determines what the actual terms of trade within those limits. So we're gonna see this best applies when both nations are of equal economic size. If the two nations are of unequal economic size, relative demand strength of smaller nation can be dwarfed by large dwarfed by large nation. Domestic exchange rate ratio of large nation will prevail. Small nation can export as much of the commodity as it desires. So here it is with the theory of reciprocal demand, the importance of being unimportant. For two nations of approximately same size engaged in international trade, gains from trade will be shared equally between them. But what if one nation is larger than the other nation? So the larger nation will gain fewer gains from trade, the larger nation, whereas the small nation will gain a lot more from an international trade. So larger nation may continue to produce comparative disadvantaged goods because smaller nation cannot meet all the demand. So smaller nation will benefit from trade even more. This is what we call the importance of being unimportant. The smaller the size of your country, the greater the benefit of trade that you will gain. What? The price of goods are cheaper, a lot cheaper with international trade. So, here it is. Theory of reciprocal demand will give the exact line. This is if you want to see, if you want to understand this concept here, autos, wheat, this thing here, look at this. This is more favorable, improving Canadian terms of trade to this line. Let's begin with the middle for the sake of demonstration for you. Begin in the middle. So as we go down, this is more favorable for Canada because the auto becomes cheaper as you go down, cheaper because autos is what Canada imports. Whereas if you go to the left, up and up and up, this is more favorable for United States, improving US terms of trade because auto is what United States export, more expensive. So improving terms of trade of United States. Clear? Yeah, let me extend it. But the Ricardian model does not tell. Where is it? Blurred on that because it's based on supply side only. So there is a reciprocal demand theory by John Stuart Mill. Will tell us exactly where that line is based on demand. We're not gonna get into detail on that. So here, importance of being unimportant, just explaining if one country is large, the small country will benefit more. Large country has less to benefit from. It's already large. Small country will benefit a lot from international trade. So, in terms of trade, commodities of trade measure the international exchange ratio, measures the relation between the prices of a nation gets for its export. So this is terms of trade. Price of your export relative to imports. I want to give you example. If last year have to sell one bottle last year, okay, one bottle of this thing, water, whatever water, one bottle. I have to sell one bottle of water to buy a TV, just for the sake of example. Okay, I have to sell this one bottle of water for me to buy 1 unit of TV last year. But this year I have to sell 5 bottles of water to buy the same TV. It means that my terms of trade has deteriorated. Previously, I need only to sell 1 bottle of water to buy 1 TV. Now 5 bottles. So I've lost. My terms of trade has deteriorated. So you understand? Price of your exports relative to price of your import TV. Price for my export bottle of water relative to my import, which is TV. Clear? So improvement, okay, I just explained to you just now. Deterioration, I gave you this example, deterioration. So rise of imports relative to export. Given quantity of imports requires sacrifice greater quantity of export. Yes, I need to export more, 5 bottles. On the other side, opposite story. Rise, improvement, rise in export prices relative to import prices. Smaller quantity of exports sold abroad to obtain that given same quantity of import. Yeah, the opposite story. So just to give you the terms of trade, basically developed countries enjoy more, better and higher terms of trade. Dynamic gains from trade. Yes, trade is not static, it's dynamic. So effects of trade on countries' growth rate and volume of additional resources made available to be utilized by trading countries can arise from increased investment in equipment, economies of scale of large-scale production, increased competition, internet use, and so on. Will dwarf static gains from trade. Now, patterns of comparative advantage changes over time. It's not static because of productivity changes across countries. So again, our concept, let me go back to our theory. International trade occurs because of differences in the opportunity cost of producing products between two countries or between countries, because of differences in the opportunity cost. That opportunity cost has to do with how productive, how efficient that country produce a product compared with the other product. Okay? X and Y. And that X and Y in country A is compared with X and Y in country B. That's why comparative advantage. So that specialization is based on opportunity cost that has to do with how efficient. What it means that how efficient, how productive are you in that product. So it goes back to productivity. Specialization based on productivity, based on all the same and related, okay, based on productivity, which is based on, which gives you the opportunity cost. You have lower opportunity cost in product X if you are more productive in the production of X. That's what it is. But however, productivity changes across countries. So production possibilities frontiers also changes. So more output can be produced with same amount of resources. Producers must hone skills to compete. So let's take this example. If productivity in the Japanese computer industry grows faster than it does in the United States, so the opportunity cost of each computer produced in the United States increases relative to the opportunity cost of the Japanese. So here, United States, computer, MRT. So it moves to this line, 150. Whereas for the Japanese, moves to this line. So for the United States, comparative advantage shifts from computers to auto. Because the United States is more efficient in, well, Japanese is more efficient in computers higher productivity in computers than does workers in the United States in computer. As a result, Japan will specialize in computer, United States will specialize in auto. So now we've come to the new model, still classical model. We're not moving anywhere, still classical. No, we've done it classical. Look at this, neoclassical. Okay, we've done complete, finish with classical. We talk about Smith and Ricardo. Smith, absolute advantage. Ricardo, comparative advantage. Now, a new phase in our chapter 2. Read carefully. This is trading under increasing cost. All the while, previously, we are talking about constant cost. Constant cost. This constant opportunity cost. Constant opportunity cost, because straight line. Now, well, the model was 2 by 2 by 1. 2 by 2 by 1. One factor only, labor. That was constant cost. Now, this is increasing cost, no longer constant cost, increasing cost. Say, not a straight line. The production possibilities frontier is not a straight line. There's a bowing out curve. That's why it is increasing cost. You're gonna see that. So this is actually the foundation for neoclassical trade theory. We finished with classical, Smith and Ricardo. Classical, we finished. Now we are entering into neoclassical trade theory. Okay, the model of 2 by 2 by 2. Finish with model 2 by 2 by 1. Now 2 by 2 by 2. Two factors. Two countries, two products, X and Y. Two factors, capital and labor. So given rise to a production possibilities frontier that appears bowing out, larger in terms of what is sacrificed, MRT, absolute slope that we're interested in, of the production possibilities frontier, is again opportunity cost. Rises as the production point moves to the right on the production possibility frontiers. Here, as we move to the right. So what is the slope? Slope is anything you draw a tangent line. What is a tangent line? You draw a line but you don't go inside it, only touching, right? If you draw a line crossing inside, that's not tangent line. Tangent line is only touching, like this, touching. Tangent line. Tangent line. Here, look at here. Point A, slope is less steep. As you move to the right, 60, 80, now move to the right, the slope increases. So the slope in this model depends on the specific point that you are. Here, very low steep. Steeper here, steeper, gets steeper, yes. Depends on at which particular point that you are. That's the slope. So increasing opportunity cost leads to a production possibilities frontier that's bowed outward, viewed from the origin. The marginal rate of transformation MRT equals the absolute slope of the production possibility frontiers at a particular point here along the frontier. This is the frontier, production possibilities frontier, which is not a straight line. As a result, that's increasing opportunity cost. As you move more to the right, increase the slope, increase. That's why increasing cost. So one country specializes producing one good, the other country specializes in producing the other good. Process of specialization continues in both nations until relative cost of one good is identical in both nations. One country's export of one good equal the other country's import of the goods. Domestic rates of transformation is going to be the same with trade. Here it is. With increasing opportunity cost, comparative product prices in each country are determined by both supply and demand factors. A country tends to partially specialize in the product of its comparative advantage under this model. So previously it was a straight line. We saw complete specialization. Here, complete specialization. This point B for United States, B here, B prime for Canada, complete. It means that producing 120 of auto but 0 of wheat, producing maximum of wheat 160 but 0 of auto for Canada, the opposite. That's complete specialization. Now we're seeing partial, not complete, partial specialization. Here. Oh. Here. Partial means some of autos and some of wheat. For Canada also, some of wheat, some of autos. Not one or the other. Okay? That's partial specialization. So let's begin. This is the starting point. A for United States, production in autarky, produce 5 auto and 18 wheat. For Canada, this is the autarky point, producing 17 autos, 6 only wheat. But look at this, the starting point here, the opportunity cost, the MRT, the slope, okay, at this point, tangent point, tangent, it says that it's very not steep, but it's for Canada here, the starting point is very, very steep. Very steep for the production of auto, means that high opportunity cost for production of auto in Canada, not steep. In United States, means that low opportunity cost of production of auto in United States. So it teaches us that United States should specialize in the production of auto, because as the opportunity cost for production of auto is lower in United States. But Canada, opportunity cost of production of auto is very high because it's steep. Okay, this. So Canada should not specialize in auto. Instead, should specialize in wheat. So now trade begins. So United States will specialize in auto, increase the production, move along, okay, move along still on the production possibilities frontier, not inside, but not possible outside to produce, okay, because it's limited to resources that you have. Now we have two resources, capital and labor, and that's why we have this, not a straight line. Now increase from 5 to 12 is actually as movement along this from point A to point B in terms of production, from A to B, which is from 5 to 12. Specialization, more of auto production in the United States. Whereas Canada specializes in wheat from 17, decreases production of autos to 13 because it wants to increase the production of wheat, which Canada specializes in from 6 to 13. So it moves from point A to prime to B prime. Move along. So increase the production of wheat. On the other hand, sacrifice. Okay, this is opportunity cost. Increase one product, you must decrease the other product. Increase from 6 to 13 wheat, decrease from 17 to 13 in terms of auto. Similarly, with United States, specializes in autos, increase the production of auto from 5 to 12, from point A to B, 5 to 12, but the United States must reduce the production of the other product because of, concept of opportunity cost. You want to increase one product, you must decrease the other product. So increase from 5 to 12, production of auto according to specialization based on comparative advantage. Reduce production, on the other hand, production of wheat from 21 to 14. So this is the new point with trade. This before trade, with trade. So now look at this new point with trade or after trade. This is new trading line, which is exactly the same line up here, which is A before trade, B with trade, B prime. The same exact line. The new line, which is the trading possibilities line. So now previously it was one auto equals 0.33 wheat. It means that wheat is more expensive than auto previously. Auto is cheaper than wheat, but with a new line, we have one auto equals to one wheat or equal. By this example, we can have a different example, but according to this example, so regardless of which line, auto now has become more expensive. That's what the United States wants because it exports auto. Let's look at Canada. Before trading, it was this line. 3 wheats. Canada needs 3 wheats to equal one auto. It means auto is more expensive in Canada previously. Wheat is so cheap in Canada. But now with the new line, regardless of this line can be here, this B can be here, which is like this, or can be here, but okay, this, it means that now it shows here one auto equals one wheat. It means that wheat now has become more expensive. That's what Canada wants because Canada exports wheat. Okay, this is the line. So now with the new line, where's the new line? The B. Produce here, specialization point for United States. Production is here. Remember, let me repeat, production must be anywhere on the production possibilities frontier. Inside, not efficient, can produce more. Outside, not possible. So in autarky, what you produce is what you consume. In autarky, before trade, Americans can only consume 5 autos and 18 wheat. Wheat trading, now this is the beauty of trade, international trade. What you couldn't get before, now you get it. Now, here, once you, this point, production point of with specialization, with trade, same, specialization, trade, yeah. This new international line, trading line, we can build a point of consumption, yes, here. So now consumption is outside of the production possibilities frontier, outside. United States can consume, if it chooses to consume same amount, 5, before also 5 of autos, but now, because it chooses, we can put the consumption point here. We can put it here. We can. So it means that maybe consume 7, but here maybe 19. But let's assume that United States wants to maintain that same consumption for auto. So this is the consumption point. So after trading, United States consume 5 as before, but now wheat, previously United States can only enjoy 18, now 21. So this is the beauty of trade, can consume outside, beyond your production possibilities frontier because of trade, existence of trading line. Similarly with Canada, previously Canada consumed only 17 autos, combination of 17 autos and 6 wheat. Now we trade, new line exists. This is international trading line. It's actually the international price line after trade. Same price line for the product of autos relative to wheat. How do you calculate that? Again, similar, wheat over auto, except that here we don't have a straight line to but we can still calculate. Okay. Yeah, we can. Look at this. The new line, 13 minus 6. Yeah, the new line here. Yeah. This divided by this. This quantity jump divided by this. We get this the slope. Yeah. Why not? So previously 17 and 6. Now, because of this existence of this new line, we can build this consumption point here. 20 autos and 6. Yes, we assume that Canada wants to maintain consumption of wheat as previously 6 wheat before the trade, 6 wheat. Now with trade also, we assume that Canada wants to maintain 6 consumption of wheat, but look at this, 20 of autos, previously only 17. So this is the beauty of international trade, consume more than previously of at least one product or both products. We can show if we put the consumption point here. Let's say C prime is here, both products here, let's say here. So 7 wheat, more of wheat, and maybe 19 autos instead of 20. So regardless, both products basically, or either one In this case, the one that shown in the figure here, 20 more autos and same amount of wheat, because we can, it's not advisable we put the SIP here, because it means that consume less of wheat than before. We don't want to sacrifice too much of wheat consumption in Canada. If you put here maybe 4 wheat and more of autos, no, it's better just here. Same amount of wheat as before, but more auto, 20. See? So a country tends to partially specialize products or competitive advantage under existing costs. Okay, that's done. Now, this neoclassical theories, 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. More of each good is being produced. Yes, same. Consumption gains, both countries consume more of at least one of the good. At least one. This is according to our picture. At least one. Same as before for wheat. At least one. More autos. For United States, same as before in terms of autos, 5 and 5. Previously 5. We trade also 5. But more of the other. At least one product. Or both product, we can show that also. At least one good. Trade triangle denotes, okay, trade triangle. I have not shown it. This is a trade triangle. How do we want to show trade triangle? Always remember, C, consumption. We compare with production. So now, where's new production? We trade B, point B. So United States can produce 12 auto, but consume only 5. Produce 12 auto, consume only 5. Consume C. So this 7 is export. So we got here. This is one already. Export of autos by United States. What about wheat? Wheat, United States, this is production, consumption, okay, this B and C. United States consume 21 wheat, but produce only 14 wheat. This must be imports from Canada. So how much? 14, 6, 7. 7 wheat is import from Canada. So this is the trade triangle for United States. Connecting between the new international trading line. This is, we shouldn't call new international trading line, because before that, no trade. So this is international trading line. Take out the word new, because it's not new. Previously, no trade. Now, trade. So this is the international trading line, and connecting with exports of United States and imports of United States. Triangle. The same triangle we're going to see for Canada. Similarly, let's begin with identifying consumption point and new production point with trade. This is specialization point B. Okay. So Canada consume 20 auto after trade, but produce only 13. So this produce 13 only, consume 20, 7 must come from imports from United States. So we got here already imports. Canada also consume 6 of wheat, but this is new production point. Or you can begin, Canada produce 13. This production point, okay, specialization point. Canada with trade, this is the specialization point, produces 13 wheat, but consume only 6. So 7 here is exports of Canada. So we have export to where? Here, imports of United States. 7 here is actually imports by United States here. here imports by Canada, right? Consume 20, produce only 13. So 7 must be imports from United States, imports of automobile. So actually here, export, import, this import here is actually here, export of United States of 7. So here is our trade triangle for Canada, connecting the international trade line with export of Canada wheat and imports of Canada automobile. This is the trade line. This is new price of automobile relative to wheat in United States. This also the new price line, relative price line between autos relative to wheat in Canada, which is exactly the same line. I'm repeating again. So when the world trades, there's only one prevailing price, which is world price, international price. No more of this price. No more of this price. This is the one that's existing after trade. One price only in the world. Price of what? Autos relative to wheat. In Canada, autos relative to wheat in United States. By extension, you can say that relative price of autos relative to wheat, not only in Canada, in the world. Not only in the States, in the world, because they are all of the same line in the United States, in Canada, in fact, in the world. So, in short, this is the international price line, relative price of autos relative to wheat in the world. Not only in Canada, not only in the United States, in the world. Or look at the other way. You can reverse also. This is relative price of wheat relative to autos in the world. Not only in Canada, not only in the States, in the world. So, but to talk about wheat relative to autos, we have to reverse everything. So we don't want to get into that. We just stick to relative price of autos relative to wheat in both countries become equal. Equal to what? To world price or international price, this line. I hope I'm clear on it. This line, yeah, this line, same line, same line. No more of this line. Finished. No more of this line. Finished. New line. One line only that exists in the world after trade. So more of which goods were okay, done with this trade triangle. So here it is. Similarly, we can explain the production gain. Previously, this is before trade, with specialization increased in autos in the States from 5 to 12. Yes, increased in auto because United States specializes in auto according to the teaching of Ricardian model. Now extended into the model of 2 by 2 by 2, which is the neoclassical model. Same, based on comparative advantage. Never run away from that comparative advantage, except that in this model there are two factors of production: 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, which is capital and labor. And the difference also, partial specialization. See, partial increase in auto, some production of wheat but less than before. 18 before, now 14. Partial specialization. Okay. Similarly with Canada, increase in wheat. Canada specialized in the other product, wheat, from 6 to 13 production reduce in production of auto. Of course, bring up one, you must reduce the other. Similarly here already I didn't mention about that. This is the concept of opportunity cost. You cannot have both. You cannot have only one. You want A, you must reduce B. You want to enjoy tonight World Cup, okay, Malaysia against whatever, Korea, let's say, for the sake of example, tonight, assume that there's a World Cup and you can only watch now. You cannot watch, there's no tape, no recording, assume. So either you watch tonight or tomorrow you fail your exam. So how much you watch? If you watch only 5 minutes, maybe you get A or you get A minus. If you don't watch at all, exam tomorrow, you get A plus. If you watch until first half of the game, maybe you get B minus. If you watch all until finish football game World Cup tonight, you get F, exam tomorrow. Just for the sake of example, my crude example. That's a opportunity cost. You cannot have both. Either you want to enjoy World Cup tonight or you suffer your exam tomorrow. Okay. So production gain, autos 7 more of 7 from 5 to 12, 7. Wheat reduce, specialization. Similarly with Canada, increase of wheat, less of auto, but the world produce more. Previously only 22 auto, now 25 autos because of specialization by United States in autos. Increase from 5 to 12, even though Canada decreases, but more output. 22 compared with 25, now 3 more autos produced in the world. Similarly, similar story, 3 more wheat. Okay, we want to save time. Let's move on to consumption gain. This is more important to show. Okay, consumption. Always trade, you want to consume in the end. Okay, before trade only 5, after trade 5. Okay, we assume that. Wheat 18, now 21. Canada, autos, before trade was 17, now 20. So more of wheat can be consumed by Americans. More of autos, which Canada does not specialize in. More autos can be consumed in Canada because of trade. This is the beauty of trade. So overall in the world, there are more, of course this is going to be the same, 3 and 3. More autos can be enjoyed by the people of the world and more of wheat. So both goods, okay? So partial specialization trade generally leads to country to specialize partially. Okay, we explained that already. Increasing cost constitute mechanism that forces cost into trading nations to converge. Yes, one trading line only. When cost differentials are eliminated, the basis for the specialization ceases to exist. Both countries will produce the same of each good. Will produce some of each good. Not all goods and services are traded internationally. Differing in taste for products. Most products are differentiated. Example, automobiles provide a variety of features. Luxury car, less luxury car, basic car, difference. Okay. The extent of to which an economy is open dependent on trade. Influences. Oh, this is next chapter already. This is next topic. So the impact of next subtopic, the impact of trade on jobs. So the extent to which an economy is open, which is dependent of trade, influences mix of job within an economy, can cause dislocation in certain areas of it or industries, has little effect on overall employment. So this is to negate those who will say that international trade will bring negative impacts on jobs in the country. Read the last point. Has little impact on the overall employment in the country, because those economies and those activities which are not in line with the comparative advantage principle, there's going to be dislocation of jobs in those areas or in those industries. So moving, the resources away from that activities which that country is not efficient to more efficient industries, more efficient activities. I'm talking about X and Y, okay? If that country is more efficient in X, yes, by all means, all the labor, that's the 2 by 1. The complete specialization should move to production of X. With the second model, 2 by 2 by 2, we have two factors, capital and labor. By all means, if the country is more efficient in X, and if we assume, now we're getting into Hexaolin, chapter 3. If we assume X is capital intensive, X, Y is labor intensive, given that this country A is abundant with capital, lots of capital available in that country of A, and X is capital intensive, by all means, capital should move. Capital and of course we need both capital and labor to produce X, both combinations. By all means, that country of A should specialize in X, which is capital intensive product that will use a lot of capital in the country, because that country has a lot of capital. That's actually next chapter. So dislocation in certain areas or industries or activities, overall little impact on the level of employment, and yet trade is good and it provides employment. So don't worry about loss of jobs. Trade is good for everyone, and that creates job. So let's look at the empirical evidence from trade and jobs. Look, this is imports of goods and as percentage of GDP. This is the year. Okay, increased international trade tends to neither inhibit overall job creation, does not stop job creation, nor also contribute to an increase in overall unemployment. So this is the proof, empirical evidence. Trade will not cause unemployment. Trade will not limit job creation. As seen in the figure, the increase in US import of goods as percentage of GDP over the past several years or decades has not led to any significant trend in overall unemployment in the state. Look, this is unemployment. Does not lead to unemployment. In fact, going down the opposite way. Look at this. Imports, more imports, more imports, more import, more imports, more imports. United States, okay? But unemployment goes down. So this is the proof that more imports will not cause higher unemployment. See, more imports, but unemployment does not go up. So improve. So far our model, 2 products, 2 countries, real world, many products, many countries. So now we look at more products, because it's not real, okay? 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. In reality, many countries in the world, many products in the world, and factors occur. We have capital, labor, technology, and other. But the first two, many countries, not just 2 countries, A and B. Many products, not just X and Y. So first we look at more than 2 products, and second we'll look at more than 2 countries. So we extend this concept of, theory of comparative advantage to make it real, extended to many products or many countries and many products. So first, more than 2 products. Comparative advantage ranks goods by degree of comparative cost. Each country export products in which it has the greatest comparative advantage, the greatest. Each country imports products in which it has the greatest comparative disadvantage. Imported. Cut-off point between export and imports depends on the relative strength of international demand. I remember I did not explain fully to you about the reciprocal demand. So I now go back very quickly to make sure you understand this line, this word here. The theory of reciprocal demand. Here, this is the most important part. Relative strength. Oh, the word here, relative strength. Within the outer limits, of terms of trade, actual terms of trade is determined by relative strength of each country's demand for the other country's product. So again, that's why I mentioned in my class, this theory of comparative advantage, or trade theory basically, is similar to theory of marriage. Number one, the beauty of trade, what you cannot consume, with trade you can now consume. And now, secondly, here, depends on the relative strength of each country's demand for the other country's product. It means that if Canada wants a lot, demands a lot, wanting so much to import autos from America, so there is a more power available with America, because Canada wants so much to import cars from Canada, from United States. So this lies here. Let me repeat. If Canadian people are so crazy about American cars, the line would be here. Improving US terms of trade. Because Canadians are crazy about American cars. They demand so much of, wanting so much of American cars. Crazy about American cars. So the line is here, closer to here. Meaning that more power, because the other side wants so much. Similarly, with theory of marriage, if the guy wants the girl so much, the girl can behave with power. He's not gonna run away. He wants me so much. Similarly, here, Canadians are crazy about American cars, the line will be here, near to the other, to the border. So improves U.S. terms of trade. On the other hand, if for some reason, I'm making up a story, okay, Americans are crazy about wheat from Canada, with the new story that come out from research, wheat, I'm making up a story, okay, wheat grown in countries with more snow, more snow, Canada, more snow, the quality is better, you can, have a better life, healthy life. I'm making up a story, okay? So more Americans are crazy about wheat from Canada, not from America. So this will drive the line closer to here. So that improves. So Canadian wheat producer have more power. Sort of similar to that, the boy, she wants me so much. I have power of negotiation, okay? Power of bargaining power. In this case, similarly, if Americans want so much of wheat, want to import so much of wheat, wants the wheat from Canada, so the line will be here. That improves Canadian terms of trade. See, that's what it means by the relative strength of each country's demand for the other's product. That's the theory of reciprocal demand by John Stuart Mill. I just remember the word relative strength, that's why I go back. I did not explain fully. Now I explain. Where was I? The cutoff point between the export and imports depends on the relative strength of international demand. Figure 2.7, the same word, but now applied to different concept. So, when a large number of goods is produced by two countries, operation of the comparative advantage principle requires the goods to be ranked. Now we're extending this 2 by 2 by 2 model to give more reality to it. Lots of products, not just two. Many countries, not just two, A and B. So what happened? In this case, requires the goods to be ranked by the degree of comparative cost. Each country exports the products in which its comparative advantage is the strongest. Each country imports the products in which its comparative advantage is the weakest. So here, for Japan, United States, for Japan is more competitive, has comparative advantage in semiconductors, in steel, in automobile, whereas for United States, more stronger, more comparative advantage, stronger comparative advantage in chemicals, in aeroplanes, jet planes, in computers. So America, United States will specialize in these products, whereas Japan will specialize in this product, semiconductors, steel, and car, as a result of this. So ranked by the degree of comparative cost. So each country export products in which its comparative advantage the strongest. Semiconductors, chemical. Japan also exports steel. America export aeroplanes, jet. So now more than two countries multilateral trade relations. Bilateral balance should not pertain to any two trading partners. Trade surplus with trading partners that buy many products it supplies at low cost. Trade deficit with trade partners that are low cost suppliers of goods it imports intensively. We're going to see here. You can understand from here, okay? When many countries are involved in international trade, the home country will likely find it advantageous to enter into multilateral trading relationship. Multilateral, not just bilateral. Many ways, many countries, with a number of countries. This figure illustrates the process of multilateral trade for the United States, Japan, and OPEC. So, for the United States, imports semiconductors from Japan. Same time, because United States should buy from Japan. Japan has a stronger comparative advantage in semiconductors. Whereas United States, you import here, but you export jet planes to OPEC countries, airplanes. Japan also import oil from OPEC countries, but export semiconductors. So that's what it means. Trade surplus with trading partners that buy many products that it supplies at low cost. Your surplus with the other country, here, United States surplus, selling a lot of aeroplanes to OPEC countries, can buy semiconductors from Japan. Japan also, can buy oil from OPEC countries, oil producing economic, cooperation, OPEC countries, cartel, can pay the oil import by exporting semiconductors. So now another subtopic, which is factor mobility and exit barriers and trade. So trading assumes factors of production are mobile between different users within the country, okay? Factor mobility, ability to move factors of production out of one production process into another. How realistic is it that factors of production can move freely within an industry in a country, in a country, can move across industries in a country and not mobile across national borders? So this trade theory, classical and neoclassical, is based on the assumption that factors of production, capital and labor, with classical is 2 by 2 by 1, labor only. Labor can move from product X, production of X to production of Y, or production of Y to production of X within the country only. Similarly, with neoclassical, 2 by 2 by 2, capital and labor can only move within the country only. Same, within the country, not across country. Can move from production of X to Y, or production of Y to X, still within the country. How realistic is that? Number one, can move freely from production of X to production of Y. Is it realistic? That says that labor working in computer industry can move to producing wheat, or labor from wheat production can move freely and easily to be producing a computer. Is it real? Because they need to be trained how to produce computer. yes, possible in the long run, but short run, not possible. But still, maybe they drop out. I'm too old to learn about, to produce computer. I only know wheat farming all this while, So how realistic it is? Is it moving from one production to another? And how realistic, secondly, moving within the countries only and eliminating the possibilities of moving across country? How realistic is that? So here, exit barriers hinder market adjustment that would occur through comparative advantage. Yes, there is exit barrier. To be realistic, there's always exit barrier. That you cannot exit from X easily to Y. Exit barriers in US steel industry caused by relatively fixed costs of union negotiated wages and benefits, antiquated plants with no other use, contract termination fines, environmental problems. Plants for steel, to produce steel, you cannot, change it with no cost to other use. For example, plants, machinery for production of steel cannot be used for production of wheat, or it cannot use for production of clothes even. They are not the same machinery. So that's why exit barrier exists. So empirical evidence of comparative advantage, another subtopic. So Ricardian model implies nations export goods in which the labor productivity is relatively high. So we want to test Ricardian model. The first to test is McDougall, 1951. He studied export patterns of 25 industries in the United States and United Kingdom for the year of 1937 data. So he found from those 25 industries, 20 of them fit the predicted pattern of the Ricardian model, thus supporting the Ricardian model. What pattern? This, according to the industries, 20 industries in the United States and United Kingdom, they trade according to the principle of comparative advantage based on opportunity cost. It means that for the United States, opportunity cost for production of, let's say, production of cotton at that time, cotton was cheaper in the United States, lower cost. So he found that United States, one of the 25, cotton was one of the exports by United States during those time in 1937. Okay, that support the Ricardian model. 25, that's 20 from 25, majority, right? And later Balassa and Stern, using different data sets, also found and supported the Ricardian model, trading based on comparative advantage, based on relative prices as determined by opportunity cost. Next, by Golub, found that relative unit labor cost help explain trade patterns of the United States vis-a-vis United Kingdom, Japan, Germany, Canada, Australia. Figure 2.9. The figure displays a scatter plot of United States and Japan export data for 33 industries. So overall is sloping that way, negative slope like that. So it shows a clear negative correlation between relative exports and relative unit labor cost. Yes, when a higher labor cost, less export. Okay, negative correlation. Okay. A right movement along the figure's horizontal axis indicates a rise in US unit labor cost, more labor cost, higher labor cost to the right, relative to the Japanese unit labor cost, relative, okay, US over Japanese. Higher cost United States as you move to the right. This correlates with a decline in US export, you see, relative to the Japanese export. So downward movement along the figure of downward. If you move to the right, this one here, you go down. So negative correlation. So this is the proof of comparative advantage based on labor cost of the Ricardian model. Okay. If the cost is higher for United States, this way, the scatter plot. Higher labor cost, less of export, because the principle of comparative advantage is based on labor cost. You export more of the products that you have the lowest labor cost. Okay, that's the proof. So, limits of Ricardian model. Labor is not the only factor of inputs. Not only labor, we have capital. Because Ricardian model, only labor. Labor not only factor input, production and distribution costs also impact trade. Secondly, differences in product quality also impact the trade. So people look at quality as well, not only cost and price only, in reality. Okay, we saw that. So, can American workers compete with low wage workers abroad? Argument highly political. Bernie Sanders was a candidate, you know, for the Democratic candidate. I mean, trying to get into to become Democratic candidate for US election. Believes US cannot compete. He's been offered, you know, an opponent of free trade all along. Opponents believe that Sanders, opponents of Sanders, okay, believe that Sanders' understanding of free trade inaccurate. Lawrence found a strong relationship between average productivity, which is GDP per capita, and average wages, consistent with Ricardo's principle of comparative advantage. Indeed, some industries in which United States advantages in technology and productivity are more than necessary to offset America's higher wages. So, US is more productive in their computer ICT industries, more than offset of higher wages in these computer industries. In these American industries, companies cannot compete. Of course, I should be saying like this. Americans are, you know, higher productivity in technology, including ICT sectors. These are more than necessary to offset America's higher wages in other products, and also in that products. So productivity is more important than, you know, when productivity is high, you can, you know, afford high wages. Okay, that's what it means. Of course, United States specializes in ICT, can no longer produce like labor intensive products like shoes, no more. Main argument. Now the case for trade, free trade. Free trade is good. That's how I began our class. Free trade is good and good for everyone's involved in trade. Free trade, by extension, will be good for the world. So main arguments for world as a whole, free trade results in higher level of output and income than would occur without the trade, without free trade. It allows each individual nation to achieve higher level of production and consumption that then would be achieved without trade. Additional benefits of free trade: increased monopoly, more innovation, wider range of product choices, reduces international political animosities. Yeah, the first one, increase in monopolies, should be read as, yes, trade, free trade will not allow monopoly, because free trade means free competition. Okay, free competition, so will not allow monopoly. Okay, more innovation, yes. Wider range of product choices, reduce international political animosities, yes. So free trade will be beneficial for all the countries. More competition, that's what I mean. However, trade sometimes harms particular domestic industries and workers, prompting calls for protections from imports. Ricardian theory assumes production cannot move to other nations. Today, labor, technology, capital, and ideas also all shift around the globe. Today, many goods are supplied by global supply chain, international production networks that allow firms to move goods and services efficiently across national border. So, outsourcing is part of that global supply chain. Subcontracting work to another firm or purchasing components rather than manufacturing them. Advantages of outsourcing: reduce costs, increase competitiveness, creation of new industries and products. But lately, there's been reshoring of production to the back to the United States. Reshore back. Wage gaps narrowing, cost of shipping goods by ocean freight increasing sharply, was down but now increasing. Goods in transit for weeks, for some reason, shipping goods by freight increases sharply. Because of other factors not considered by free trade theories. Free trade assumes zero production cost. Free trade assumes, the theory of free trade assumes shipment of goods, free flow of goods without interruptions, considering only government policy of no tariffs. Okay, but in reality there are other factors beyond that. International political economy aspect of transportation, war here and there, and other natural disasters here and there, and volatility of oil prices that will have impact on cost of transportation. All other factors not considered by the simple theory of free trade are there that has made freight costs increasing sharply. Okay, number two, distance made it difficult to customize goods to local markets. You need to, today, people want to have their products customized to their taste. So also natural disaster that I talk about, geopolitical shocks to disrupt supply chains. Many firms now returning some production back to the US. So I think that's the last slide. So before we end, we want to conclude that number one, the principle of free trade that we study really is a robust principle with the assumption that there's complete competition, complete competition, meaning that free trade, complete information, no monopolies, all those assumptions that we have before. If you want to go back, all these assumptions, technology are the same. Perfect competition, yes. I've been trying to get that word. It's what time is it? Past midnight already. Should be sleeping. Perfect competition. This is very important. And no transportation cost. Perfect competition, very important assumption that everything's perfect. No tariff, no nothing. All price takers, products are identical. This can be a robust theory with this assumption only, but in reality it's different. So basic thing is that this trade theory is based on relative cost, which will determine relative price of goods. Relative cost of labor here in the classical, and relative cost of labor and capital in the neoclassical. 2 by 2 by 1 classical, 2 by 2 by 2 in neoclassical. And this neoclassical, the second part, we will study in next chapter will be explained by Hexhaw-Ohlin with the theory of factor proportion, which is trading based on comparative advantage. Comparative advantage, still we maintain that trade based on comparative advantage, your country's ability to produce a product compared with other country to produce another product, comparative advantage, the relative price of your products of X and Y in your country, relative price compared with relative price of product of X and Y in the other country, that comparative advantage. In the next chapter, still comparative advantage, but derived from endowment of factors of production. That's why Hexhaw-Ohlin, we call it the theory of factor endowment or factor proportion. Which factor is more endowed or given or available in the country? Is it factor capital or labor? Which one? So that's also we call it factor proportion theory or factor endowment theory of comparative advantage. That's chapter 3, Hexhaw-Ohlin. So in conclusion, free trade is good for every countries involved, and by extension the world. Any other move away from that will not bring benefit to anyone. Thank you for watching.